Assalamu alaikum. I want to welcome everybody to the Wajuddin Muhammad Talim Sunday. This is Pioneer Sunday, and we have a special treat. Alhamdulillah. We have Imam Bilal Omar from Baltimore, Maryland. He's going to share a few comments and share some information with us here in Houston, and we are really, really excited to have him. So I will now present Imam Bilal Omar. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I'm so pleased to be able to work with Brother Eugene Farouk, who we've been good friends for years and years and years, and he invited me to do this. Well, he didn't really invite me, but he was partly responsible. And I am a so-called pioneer. I'm not an original pioneer. The original pioneer that started Islam in Baltimore is a brother named Sheikh Charles Rashid Sharif. He was the treasurer who used to visit Elijah Muhammad separate from the imams because he was dealing with the finances. And he did time in prison as a conscientious objector, and he did 5 years, and his wife took over for him. They were soldiers. Some other things I'd like to say about Islam. Basically, when as the early days, well, this was before Elijah, before W.D. Muhammad. We used to have quotas, and it was based on your circumstances. If you were a person who was a college person, then we would cut your papers down to 25 papers, 50 papers, all depends on what you thought you could do. If you were a guy without a job, 300 papers. If you didn't want to do it, we'd put you out. We'd put you in class F if you didn't want to follow that. And we had a strong, powerful force of people who were dedicated, because it was all based on no compulsion. You didn't have to do it; you just didn't have to stay. So that's kind of strange, Nowadays, some brothers come and they don't do anything, and nobody's saying nothing to them. I really, I don't really like that. I think a person should, if he committed to do something, he should do a share of something. So Islam was established for us. We had a class F, which where if you were put out, you couldn't contact nobody in our community. And I'm sure most of us heard Imam Muhammad used to talk about it for him, but it happened to a lot of us too that were here a little bit earlier than some of you people that came to Islam later after WD came. It was a very powerful situation. And, so many things happened because myself personally, I was more like a street person, not a real street person, but I had a mother and a father, and they told me what was right and what was wrong. But I grew up in like a pool room where all the happenings were going on. And when I changed, the community didn't believe it because I was that kind of person. I was out of control. Allah blessed me to come to Islam, and it came to my heart. It came to my soul. It didn't nobody have to take me there. I didn't come into no logical thinking about Islam. I never even thought about religion, but I stumbled my way in there. And once I went in there and I heard it, it touched me. And I came and I was willing to do anything they asked me to do as a soldier. And we had military. And I sold papers. I was the 300 paper seller the first week I went in there. and I was selling more fish than anybody. I was selling more bean pies. Believe it or not, I was selling, well, I was the salesman, but we were selling 6,000 bean pies a week, which is, that would be culture shock for most of these brothers I see with an armful or a little box full of pies, and they think they're doing something. No, we was making money. We had one of the best schools in the country. We had the University of Islam that we built from the sacrifices of the believers, the ones that were there, that wanted to be there. And we had a school. We had 4 graduates that graduated before it was closed, and all 4 of them became professionals. 3 of them became doctors, medical doctors, and one of them was a PhD in some science. So that goes to show you, when you take care of your own, when you can pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And that was one message that I got from Elijah Muhammad. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Don't be trying to get somebody to help you with things that you can do yourself, and you have the capability, the physical and the mentals to do it. And all of human beings, Allah says, Zakat kalakna insana fi ahsani taqweem. He created us in the most excellent mode. We have the ability within our own souls to be able to do anything that we desire that we want to do, regardless of how many secrets it is. You can dig into the secrets if you use what Allah gave you. And we can do that as a people. And I know we're not used to this. We it's like culture shock. These new people, they come in, they do nothing, some of them. And some of them are doing great. Like Brother Mustafa. He's doing a great job getting out, spreading the word, multi-marketing and all of that. This is wonderful. We got to have that. Elijah Muhammad taught us, and I can go to Elijah Muhammad, but most of my learning came from W.D. Muhammad. But when I came in, I was under Elijah Muhammad. He taught us to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Don't be, out here, not capable of taking care of your family. Look out for the sisters. I mean, these things were planted in our minds, and you could tell the difference between a Muslim and the other people in the society. Believe me, we unloaded 1 million pounds of fish in the port of Baltimore, and the stevedores didn't help us do it because they weren't hands off of us. They didn't know what we was going to do. All we did was unload the fish and took it out and sold it. And let me tell you something. We can do that again, but we have to have committed people. You can't have a person giving nothing and he acting like he part of the economic growth. You can't do that. You got to do your share. And we had a thing that our word is bond is life. I'll give my life before my word shall fail. But we wasn't talking about physical life. We was talking about we'll put you out if you break your word. We wouldn't try to hurt you physically. And some brothers probably did, but we didn't. That wasn't the plan that our community had. Our community wanted you to be responsible for your word. Your word is very, very important. These are the things that we got to put back in our community. We can't just have a community that don't have no mode, don't have no description. We have to be, like Allah said, we was made out of clay, baked clay molded into shape. You got to be like that. You can't, and if you're not willing to give yourself to something higher than you, and we know the Quran is the highest you can get. You can't get no higher than the Quran when it comes down to molding. You have to pray 5 times a day. You got certain things, you have to be responsible for. I got so much I've done myself personally, but I'm not, I don't really consider myself as a pioneer, even though I'm a pioneer for a lot of you guys. I've been in Islam for 52 years, and I've been a soldier for most of that time. And I've done a wonderful job. I raised a family. And some of my family members are doing excellent because of the mode that I was put in and the environment that the pioneers that was before me laid for us. And we listened to them. I see them as special. They look like the companions of Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to me, because we all had to go through the same thing. And then we had to go through the transition. That transition, most brothers couldn't make it if they weren't molded correctly in the first. You can't make the transition if you was just a flimsy kind of guy, or a flimsy kind of gal. You have to be molded, and your clay had to be hard. Our clay was hard as bricks. And then WD came and hit us right in the right spot. And we made the transition. Those that wasn't molded right, they went right back out to the same thing and worse of what they were doing before they even came to Islam. And that's Islam. That's the way you got it. This is a movement. This is a transition. And we have that ability to do it to our own self. We don't have to be remade. We can make our own self. And that was one thing about Islam under Elijah Muhammad. He made sure that you understood that you understood that you was the original man. He was like the first human being on earth. And he was talking about the blacks to the ones they wanted to hear it. But I never heard it because I didn't come as a black. I came as a human being. My soul brought me to Islam. And a lot of us have the same soul, but we won't open up. We won't we won't embrace it. You got to embrace Islam and treat it like it's your mother. This is something that we have to understand. Then, I have a lot of things here I've done. I sold tickets for Dalila Muhammad, the gold medalist, the 400 gold medalist that she won. And they made me a sponsor. And I was just selling tickets, but I sold more than everybody else. And I don't know why. I established an Islamic Center in Baltimore back in 1990-something. And then I was the first chaplain of Islam, the first chaplain in Baltimore, the first chaplain over the whole prison. I wasn't just an Islamic coordinator, I was a chaplain because they liked what we represented. I did Mayor Smoke's inauguration in front of 18,000 people, and I recited the city ballad. La uqsimu bihadha balad. I recited it all the way through in Arabic and didn't read it, just recited it from memory. Made a trip to Indonesia as me and another brother named Ali Khan. I don't know if y'all know him, but he was a brother that we met both heads of state, Dr. Soweto and also Dr. Habibi. I gave them a present from the city of Baltimore, and that was the kind of relationship that we was having when I was the imam there in Baltimore. And we met we gave them a gift. And a whole lot of stuff here that we done and that I done too. I was one of the brothers that received a spin-off business from the Nation of Islam in the food business. And a lot of you might know me from selling food all over the country. I used to sell a fish in the pocket. especially you older people. I know most of y'all probably know me. I was selling the fish in the pocket, and I used to call it the Elijah Muhammad Fish Special. I come to think of it, I was in Texas, but we was in Dallas when they had the Craig meeting, and the man came over and said, "What is that?" I said, "This is the Elijah Muhammad Fish Special." He brought his whole staff a sandwich. So, I don't want to put too much on you, but I'm also a Haji. I made a Hajj in 1990, which was a miracle. And I made Umrah in 2017. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed to grow as a human being, to love all people, communicate with all people. And we never had that problem when we was in the first. We was like a cult, but now we got it going on, and we gonna have to keep it. We need you young people to step up and do the right thing, and be willing to show show your belief. You got to have conviction. You got to believe in Allah more than anything else, and obey Allah, and I think we'll be very successful. Praise be to Allah. I always said, I thank Allah, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. All the praise is due to Allah, the God and evolving sustainer of all the world. You do we worship, and your aid do we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those who have not went astray, those who go not astray. I mean, praise be to Allah. I haven't been speaking before people for a long time, but I'm so glad y'all gave me an opportunity to come and express some of the situations that occurred in the early days. And getting back to Sheikh Charles Rashid, he was a powerful man. He was 6'4", and his voice was like butter. It would just melt on you. He was a powerful man, and he was a believer in Allah. And he was the one who put the money up for the masjid right now that they got in Baltimore, the main big masjid. He put the money out of his pocket. And a lot of people don't understand how you can do that. Why you doing something like that? He did it for us, because now he's not here, but he is still there. And that's powerful, to have people like that. And it wasn't just him; it was a whole club of them. We had lots of brothers. They used to go up and down the East Coast, starting masjids all the way up, all the way down in North Carolina. We had brother Carl and brother Muhammad. We had all these brothers that just worked their whole life to make sure that Islam survived. And we need the same thing to happen in this generation. This generation that we had was good too, but the new generation is supposed to be better than us. So we're looking forward to seeing what else we can do. And I know we got to get economics. You can't make it without economics. And I started out selling bean pies, making 5 cents a pie. Then I started making a quarter a pie. And believe it or not, if I sold 6,000 for a quarter, I was making some money. Thank you, alhamdulillah. Yeah. So, I'm quite sure Brother Mustafa is going to see if somebody asks me some questions or something. Got about 10 minutes left. I'm just sitting there waiting for Mustafa now. I guess I'm on the show.
So, Alhamdulillah,
There you
uh, very, very, very good talk, and your history, the story that you were giving was very, very, it's astonishing because it puts us in the, mind frame of community building, and that it includes everybody. It takes everybody, and so, what I was getting from your message is that everybody counts and everybody had to be a part of the program in order to move forward. So I want to thank you for sharing, this history of how you came into the, Nation of Islam and then you transitioned with Imam Deputy Muhammad. You were part of the 300 paper club, so that was intriguing because if you pushed, although you had to work and you had to support your family, you still was able to move forward and sell those papers.
right.
Elijah Muhammad taught man to respect himself, his family, and the women that was around him, and then make an honest living for himself. So those attributes are very necessary now because you know how the world is. Everybody's doing what they think is correct, and a lot of times it's winding up in places that they should not be in. So, alhamdulillah. Also, you made a mention of Islam is a movement, and it definitely is. From the time Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, it's been a movement, and it's been moving, and Shaitan been trying to stomp it out all this time, and it's still here. Alhamdulillah. So, all your questions and comments, people were just, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, uh, some were saying, I mean. So they were really receptive to your message.
Alhamdulillah.
So at this point, if you do you have any closing things you want to say?
Yeah, I could say a few things. One thing that I think I left out, but you hit on the first part of it, it was the balance that you have to have. And when I came in Islam, it was a big, um, it was a lot of confusion about what was the nation and what was self, because there was two ideas: do for self, and the other idea was to do for the nation. So what I did both. I split them down the middle. I said I'm gonna take care of the nation, and I'm gonna also take care of myself because I had 9 children. I had to work, but I didn't want to give up on what I believed in as far as my faith and all of that. So what I did 300 papers, and then I went out and started a business, and I was making more money than I would dreamed of. I mean, it came to me hard, but it came to me easy because, Allah opens the door for you when you're trying to do the right thing. And I went in the food business, and I sold food all over the country. I sold food at White Plains, all the fish I could find or anything else that the brothers couldn't sell. You know, I sold fish down at the Crag meeting in Atlanta. I don't care where I went, Chicago, everywhere we went. I was always making money with the fish, and Allah blessed me to have that balance. So if you don't have the balance, you're not going to make it, because this is supposed to be Worcester. Islam is the balance. It's the balance between right and wrong, between materialism and spiritualism. If you go too far to the right, you're going to have a problem. If you go too far to the left, you're going to have a problem. But if you stay in the middle, then Allah will bless you continuously because you're in bounds. And I think that's very, very, very important. That was one point that I know I had left out. And I left quite a few more out because, like you say, everything start running and you can't, really just, um, keep doing the right thing in the logic. But I covered a lot, and I don't know what else I could bring. I could bring a whole lot more because I've done a whole lot more.
So can you speak on the book?
Yeah, my book is it's the memoirs of the brother who wrote the book in 1941, started writing it, and wrote it all the way up to 1997. So he even wrote about his transition and everything in between and things that I never knew. And I've been in Islam in Baltimore for 50 some years. The things that he revealed in that book, I never had no idea that he was that guy. He was like invisible because he was always in the church. He was a treasurer. He was always in the office, so nobody hardly ever saw him, except it was a special event. And he, he was a person that was intelligent. He studied the dictionary, so his writing was very, very good for a person from that era. I mean, ex-Negro from that era. He was like Malcolm X, basically. He was on that kind of thinking level. And Allah bless him. He was a businessman. He owned a barber shop, and he carried most of these ministers that started here in Baltimore. He bought them cars. He brought them, make sure they had food to eat, and he bought them. He did a lot to help Islam, and I was thrilled to death that he asked me to do the book at that time. But what happened was the book disappeared for 20 years. The book disappeared for 20 years, and then one day I was around a brother's house. The book fell out the closet. So, and he don't know where the book came from. He might have picked it up by mistake, or somebody brought it there, or something like that. I don't know. But we all been around here together, and the book, I said, well, I know this is a sign from Allah, so I'm going to publish this book, because I had to stop even looking for the book. 20 years will make you stop looking for something. But, and then inshallah, we got that book published. And then also another thing was when I went on my Umrah, and I was dissatisfied with my first Hajj. It was a lot of rambling and confusion and people smoking and all of this. And, and then the brother that was in my roommate was a brother's son that I committed a crime with way back in the 60s. And guess what? He was a Muslim. His name was Warif Dean. That knocked me out right there. I ain't had to have no other opportunities for faith. That blew my faith all the way to the sky, which I always was faithful anyway. But that was that's a miracle. That's two miracles in one, because W.D. Muhammad was my man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'd follow him just about anywhere on earth, and that just lit me up. That made me so happy. I couldn't believe it. And the brothers treated me like a real sheikh at that time. He wouldn't let me do nothing. When he found out that me and his father was friends, this brother, he carried me everywhere. He wouldn't let nobody. He pushed me in a wheelchair around the Kaaba. In Safa and Marwa, he did all that. Wouldn't let me buy no food. They kept giving me money to buy stuff. I said, man, what's going on here? For me, that was heaven.
Alhamdulillah. I want to thank you, Imam Bilal Omar, for sharing your story with us. It's always a blessing when we have our pioneers to give us that history, because it's always needed as we move forward. Sometimes we may kind of slip or forget, or may not even know what occurred prior to us arriving. So I want to say thank you, and I know our community and the listeners that have been listening also gain something from your talk. So going forward, hopefully, may Allah bless you and reward you for the knowledge and the information that you share with our community and those viewers that actually watched it. And it will also be available, online with that link that you have. You can
Okay.
also go back and review and look at it.
Okay.
So thank you. I'm going to go on and run our community knowledge. Those that are still on, we're going on and start our community announcements. So assalamu alaikum, Imam.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah.
And our community announcements, we have our Camp Khalil. That's the registration. We have one more week for the Camp Khalil registration before the deadline, which would be December the 16th. And it's for ages 12 to 17. And it'll be held on March the 17th through the 20th, 2022 in Dallas, Texas. This will be the 8th annual Texas session. They also have Camp Khalil in Florida, and that's been running some years. So if you have a youth between the ages of 12 to 17, please get them registered. This is one of the premier Islamic camps for the youth, and they cover a lot of activities. So, alhamdulillah, it would be halal meals, campfire, team competition, C-STEM workshop, morning halakas, ropes course, basketball, and a lot more. So be sure to get them registered so that they will be able to be a part of other Muslims and be able to build that teamwork and camaraderie with the brothers and the sisters. Also, we have community announcements. Every Friday, there's virtual coupons beginning at 1:30 at Masjid WD Muhammad. And it is in person and it is also streamed. So just make sure you get there early enough to be able to do the social distancing while it's still occurred by being held up by the CDC. Also in person Juma, that's at WDM, will begin at 1:30 and the Salat will be at 2 o'clock. Be sure to wear a mask, bring a prayer rug, make sure you're minimum 6 feet distance. And also be a part of the WDM 100 for 50. You can join that by going to tinyurl.com /WDM 100 for 50. And this will automatically come out, but you don't have to worry about it. It'll be a constant withdrawal from your account. Also, in-person Juma is available at Masjid Mercy Community Center beginning at 12:30, which is virtual and in person, and also at 1:30, which is in person only. And you can also be a part of the Merciful 313, where you can have the withdrawal coming out of your account once a month by going to tinyurl.com /Merciful 313. And our Talim and public address will be just finished. The first Sunday of the month is from the Office of Imams. The second Sunday is the Pioneer, where we just heard from Imam Bilal Omar. The third Sunday would be the youth or young adults, and the fourth Sunday is Al Muzan. Also, your Zakat and donations are always needed. You can go to masjidwdmuhammad.com. They also accept Zelle Pay, PayPal, and cashApp, which is $MasjidWdm. Also, Zakat is needed as well. Donations at Mercy Community Center, which you can go to www.MercyCCHouston.org /donation. Muslim nights. This is a ages 13 to 18, and also young adults ages 18 to 30. Sisters only. You can also, if you wanted to join or get information, just send an email to muslimnights@gmail.com. And we have our new Muslim orientation. Say, I just became a Muslim, now what? Sundays at 3 p.m. And that's taught by Imam Elijah Salahuddin. And you can send a email to Elijah at masjidwdm for more information. Sisters Halakha every second and fourth Saturday, beginning at 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Women only. To gain access, send an email to salimaconkbill@gmail.com. And let's not forget to be a part of the fundraiser donor wall, where you can purchase a plaque for your family or yourself that would be a part of the Kamaluddin Center there on the property of Masjid Muhammad. And you can get more information at tiny.url at WDM Donor Wall. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and that will conclude our announcements. Assalamu alaikum.